Beginner Boost Day 12. You know what I need to do? I need to make it so that it like interchanges. It goes Beginner Boost Day 12, and then it says what the other title is. And it says what the Day 12 is, and then like boom. It's like a billboard. It goes bloom, 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 bloom. Okay, do that. We're gonna do that. That's a great idea. Let's do that. We're just waiting for people to come on in. We're managing groups and permissions. A couple other just like administrative things real quick. So I am gonna do so here we go. Go to live cal. Open up the live calendar. I put the day on here, so this shows up in the Twitch. So if you go to the Twitch and you go to the RWX Rob. Oh, hey, there's Jola, the princess. She was on last night. They rated me when I had just fishies up. I was so happy to be rated, but unhappy they missed them. So here we are. This is us, apparently. 0 viewers, but we'll catch up. They're all watching movies. I mean, they're watching ads right now. So what else we got? So wait a second. Did that actually refresh? Happy Thursday, Auto Didex. What I was going to show you here. So, here we go, live. So it now says day 12. There's AMA and then there's day 12. And it says which day it was. This one apparently didn't update. That's kind of weird. I definitely updated it. I don't know why it didn't update, but the other stuff did. So I just want to say I put that out there so you can go take a look at that. Trying to keep. See, look, I promise, I updated today. Just the plugin's got a problem or something. Anyway, we're on day 12 already. I mean, it's amazing. We've gone so far in so little time, and I know it's probably tiring, but hopefully we can keep it down to, relatively easy thing. Today actually is an easy day. The stuff we're going to do today is we got one of those days where we're doing stuff that's not really fun, but it's important. Yesterday was, I want to say fun. We were doing VI, right? So VI is fun. I mean, it is. It's fun. It's a thing that gives you a lot of power, and it takes, it's a challenge to learn it all, and so that'll keep you busy for a while. So let's get right into it. And I have no doubt that we're going to be able to cover this amount of material in this amount of time, so we should be fine there in this 90-minute session. Just to get a sense of it before we get into it, day 13, so literally Friday the day 13. It's not the 13th tomorrow, but it's Friday day 13. So Friday day 13, we'll be talking about how to write commands. So tomorrow is a super fun day. We'll be writing shell scripts tomorrow. Tomorrow is our first shell script. We're going to talk about all of the administrative stuff necessary to be able to write your shell script. I spent a lot of time putting this outline together for that there. And that's not particularly the syntax. And then next week, and I actually blocked out, I didn't dare put anything beyond day 14 because I don't know how long shell scripting is going to push out. I chopped off anything from the README file and the boost, which is at github.com/rwxrob/boost. And I put something called Scratch. So anything that's not scheduled is not in there. People were getting confused because I put a line, but it wasn't clear enough. So nothing that's not in the README, everything in the README is something I'm anticipating that we do. So, and that means that on Monday for day 14, we'll be doing POSIX shell programming syntax. We're going to be learning, functions and arguments and return values and variables and all that stuff. And believe it or not, we can use most of that in a day. Hey, King Nerd, welcome. You're just joining us for Beginner Boost, which runs every day from 7 to 8:30. You can go to, you can read about it at github.com/rwxrob/boost. You can go back and watch day 0 on YouTube. We'll be doing at least 100 days of boosting. And the bottom line is to get you going with tech. And we're going to be doing videos. So thanks for the post there. So let's jump right in. Sounds like we've got all warmed up. I still have a little coffee left, but I'll save that for a break. And save your questions, please, until later. By the way, if you want to ask a question to the group and you don't want it to appear in the videos and stuff, please put an exclamation point in front of your questions, and that'll allow other people to see it and answer to it. Thank you. The first language we're going to learn is POSIX Shell, and then we'll go from there. We'll decide what's next. Probably C, maybe Go, maybe Python. We'll decide. Probably C though. All right, so let's do the first video on this. I don't think this one I can just talk about, and then we can just go. So how much management of users do I actually need to know? You know, that this is a question. Yeah. So let's go ahead and actually let's make a video of this. I'll do it really quickly. Let's do another one here. So we're going to change the title. So watch your heads. Kids are going to get chopped off. Oh no. And no, it's not. I know it's not Lolcatty. Okay, fine. I can't. The Lolcatty's broken right now. So that's why I took it up before. So, all right. So how much user stuff do I need to know? Well, what is user stuff? So user stuff is about users on a system. So you're a user. When you use the system, you come into the system and you want to use it. And what is a user, first of all? So let's actually go get our trusty containers. I don't know what yours is, but you should have one, right? If you have Docker installed, you can do exactly what I'm doing. You don't really need to set it up at all. You can just do docker run -it -rm. Let's do Ubuntu. And that will start up an Ubuntu container as root, which is fine. So as you can see, we have our user. The user's root. Root is the administrative user. And that is something that you should be able to tell somebody if they were interviewing you or something. And I'm trying to find if I have anything about the administrative user. I don't. So let's talk about that. And so how much of this do you need to know? Well, you do need to know enough to know what a root user is. So the root is the administrative user. And you need to know what a regular user is, so you can just understand security, and so you can know not to end up stepping on somebody's toes. But as a beginner, if you're using a container, users are not that important. So Pico CTF is a capture the flag game for cybersecurity. Over there, they have something like 36,000 users on a single system. So, if you're a university and you're providing Unix access to the entire campus, there's thousands of users on these systems. That's one thing Unix can do that the generic desktops and stuff cannot do, and it's still built into the whole system. So you can have multiple users and you can give 2 or 3 people an account, but it's unlikely that you're going to need to do that in the container world, because most of the time you're just firing up a container that is going to be root by default, which is sort of dangerous, but you can immediately create a new user. We're going to show you how to do that today. And you can operate using that user to save you so you don't make mistakes. Now, the fact that you're using a container is already sort of saving you from making mistakes, because if you do, you just throw the container away and get a new one. So many of the concerns surrounding user management and permissions are reduced in the container world of Docker. And so you might ask the question, like, why are we not even making any user until right now? And that's why, even though you're running as root, the ability to get root access to a system, let me just take a moment to pause and tell you, the ability to have root access on a Linux or Unix system in order to practice things is already a huge win. If you were trying to learn Unix on a system at university or something, there's no way ever you would get root access. The only way to get root access to a system would be install your own system. If you install your own system, you could get root access at that point, and you could do all kinds of amazing things with root access that are very dangerous, right? But you would also be opening yourself up for being hacked. I've been hacked twice. Both times I caught the person that I know of. The other times I wouldn't know, I guess. So, but that with root access, someone gets you root access to do crazy cool things on the system, but you get it for free when you use a Docker container. So, that's why you would care about it. How much of it do you need to learn? As a beginner, if you're just going to get into coding and basic system administration, you should know how to create a new user, remove a user, modify a user, change the user's permissions, and check what users are on the system. That's it. You really don't need to know much more than that. And they would be fall under basic system administration in the old days. That's what they would call it. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. Okay, and then we'll put a little note there for root access. Okay, so let's do something else. If you haven't got one out yet, go get it out right now. Go get your container up and get used to we're going to be using it now. Okay. So let's see here. Let's do another one. All right, another video. So we're going to get right into creating and managing the users and the groups right now. And this is where we start. So we'll talk about two major areas. We'll talk about groups and users, and then we're going to talk about permissions after that. That's related to the groups and users, what permissions you give them. Okay. So here we go. So let's delete this one. Let's go by our stuff here. So here's our Docker container. The first thing is add a user. So if this is your practice container that you've been using, you're reconnecting to it. You can either be reconnected to it, or you can just, if you want to, you can start up a brand new one and just practice the skill. You know what I mean? That might be a good idea, actually. This is the first time we've done Docker containers in Boost. So you might want one container that you're kind of babying and keeping nice because, you want to use that one for other things. But you should get used to the idea of throwing containers away and just resetting them. And actually, the more we get into this, the more I realize that we're going to learn Docker files right after we learn how to write a script. And I think that you'll really like that. I think that you're really going to like that. It's really easy, actually. So here we go. We need to add a user over here. We don't want to be root all the time, or do we? Sometimes it might be good to test out things as root. So the first thing we need to do is add a user. So there's two commands to add a user. One has been around since the 70s, and the other one came about because of Debian to make it easier to add a user. So I'm going to teach you that one first. Okay. So the easiest one starts with the verb add user. You just hit add user, hit enter. And then it will give you. You have to give it one name. So RWX Rob, and it does everything for you. It picks your ID for you. It asks you what your password is, and I don't know, just type some password. The password doesn't matter in your containers, obviously, because you're not going back and forth. So I'll just put some simple thing. And normally, if that was a real system, obviously, it wouldn't put something simple, but it doesn't matter. Now, this little Perl script that was written that you're running right now, that's built into all the systems now, is actually designed to set up schools and stuff. So if you want to, you can put your name here, Robbo McBobbo. That's what my stepson calls me. So room number, obviously, right? Work phone. You don't need any of that, but you can just hit enter on that. Yes, and then that will actually give you a user. And you don't know that you have a user. Like, what? I just got a user. Where is it? Right? Well, we're going to jump right into how to run as that user. Use su-user to log in as user. So this is when you put the dash in there, it actually says start up a login shell. It's the same as if you had connected. Effectively. So let's do that. So we do su dash, and then the name of the user, RWX Rob. And now, as you can see, my username has changed. Now, my prompt is really ugly and everything, and we're going to clean up all that stuff with customization as we go forward. But that's how you get this user over here. And again, this is the host right here, and this means I'm in the home directory. So now you can see here, that when you make a file, so touch file, if you do ls, that shelf is all stuff we've learned already. But if you do that, you can see the file is owned by ArcticXRob with a group ArcticXRob. We'll get in permissions a little bit later today. So that account is there. Now, if you try to do something to go to the root system and do something like I want to touch a file in here, it'll be like, nope, sorry, you can't do it. So in order to get back the permissions I had, I can just do exit, and now I'm back out. Okay. If you want to give somebody, well, I'm going to go down here. Root access, grant, use sudo to grant root access. A lot of this is going to, super user. They actually call this super user. Super user. So, has everybody create a user on your account for yourself? All right, so let's do it the harder way. Now, to tell you the truth, I don't use the harder way very often because I can't remember it. There's a reason somebody wrote that script because it's easier. So let's do that now. Let's actually make another account using the harder way. So we're going to do, instead of add user, we're going to do user add, right? It gives me, oh, okay, it says you need to do all of these things. Now that's also, you could also do man user add on your system, unminimize. I don't have my man pages, so I'm going to take a moment to get my man pages back. You notice I did unminimize. So these containers, it's standard to have unminimize. If you run that as root, that will make your machine as if it were real and large and have all the help files and everything on it. It takes a little while to run, but so wow, that even put GCC on there. That's like taking a while. Okay, so now I can do man user add, and there it will tell you there's no such file. Oh, what? Now we're really having to. This is good as a review. Apt. You guys remember how to do that, right? App update -y. We're gonna do that. You guys, we're gonna build. I'll stay in this container for the day, but I don't think repeating it is bad. In fact, I think you should repeat it every time if you can, because that'll help you remember it. So now what? Now I do apt install man, and I'll install the man application. And I mean, people think I'm crazy for having you do these things, but I think it's amazingly cool. So at man user add. Now we have man pages, not color or anything because we haven't customized anything. But so user add, create a new user or update a default user with new information. So I don't know why you do that. There's another command called user mod for changing stuff. Let me give you the overview. We have delete user and user del for that kind of thing. Then we have, yeah. How many pages is it at? Is it? Oh yeah, no. So then we have what? Then we have user mod for changing existing settings on a user. We have add group and remove group to create a new group on the system, delete group or group add. We're going to do all of that. We can modify an existing settings on a group. We can change the password with password, and then we'll talk about the files involved. So let's do this. So user add. Well, let's try it. Let's see what users are on the system. To do that, we can grep. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but you can grep home out of Etsy password, and that will tell you everybody's account. Every one of these lines represents an account. So this says we have one account. His user ID is 1,000, and his group ID is 1,000, which is usually a standard one. This little, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but oh well, as long as we cover it. The X here means there's no password stored in this file. It's stored in another secret file, which we'll talk about later. And this over here is just all those questions it asked you. This is just a random text field. And then we have this, the home directory and the shell. So you can actually change those things. So let's say, well, first of all, let's add another user using the other method. Add user, another. And it didn't even ask me anything. No prompting, no interactivity or anything, right? And it's like, that's all well and good until what? Until I try to go to look for it. So now you see it did add another user, but it didn't add any other information, right? because user add is very specific. And you'll notice it made my default shell binsh. Watch this. So when I'm another, let's make a login shell. When I'm in another user, wow, look at that, man. The first problem I had is there's no home directory. So which one do you want to use to make a new user? Probably add user, right? That's why it was added. But sometimes you want to be precise, and you can't always count on add user being there. User add is POSIX, which means it works on AIX or any other system, Solaris, and even old systems as well as new. So add user is kind of a Debian thing, I'm pretty sure. So you want to at least learn user add, if it just know it's there. Again, the purpose of Beginner Boost is not to teach you everything, but to help you understand what you should know and where to go find it. So in this case, I have a problem, which brings me to the next problem, the next command, which is user mod. So if we look here, so we have del user. Let's just jump to user. I mean, del user just goes without saying, it just removes the user. By the way, let's one thing at a time. So let's modify this user. So if we're going to do user mod, you can do user mod. Let's actually, user mod. Let's say for the home directory, we want it to be, no. So yeah, I forgot. So it made an entry here and assumed it was home another, but it didn't create the directory. So if you go into cd/home, you'll see the directory there, but it didn't make it. So you actually have to make it. Yeah. So, and if I had done let's see, I don't remember. I gotta go look it up. I never use it. If I had, there is a way to do this. I think it's -m, which will actually create the directory for you. See there, it says base directory. If the -m is not used, that must exist. So the default is it leave you alone and let you make it. If you do -m with the thing, which I can never remember, then I'm pretty sure, there it is. -m says go ahead and create it when you do it. And by the way it creates it is it copies etc, and this is getting really into stuff. So like as root, you can actually cd into etc and say, welcome. Oh boy. And you can say, there's no VI. This is good. You get to see all this practice. I want you to see these things. I actually did this by design. I wanted you to use containers so you would have to remember how to do all the installs and stuff. Hey there. Welcome. Anyway. So they have a welcome file now on their skeleton, right? So let's before we get too crazy, let's make another one. So let's do user add -m this time. I don't know, Doris, that's my wife. So now let's make it into Doris's account. Hey, look, we have a welcome file. It's in there. Isn't that cool? But look at our shell. What kind of shell is this? I have no idea. Echo $shell. binsh. Oh my heavens. We have to change that. And we don't want to do, so how would we change that? Well, let's change it with user mod. User mod dash, I think it's S for shell. I don't know. So I'm going to go look. I can't remember them all. I don't remember. You don't have to either. So which one is it? Home directory, got that. Expire date, no. Inactive, no. Group UID, no. Move home. I didn't know that was a thing. Non-unique. Ooh, password. That's how you set the initial password. Refers to a directory that doesn't exist. Yeah, the home does. Yeah, the other one we have to fix, right? We have to go make it. So, and I think we did that. Didn't we do make dir? We did, right? Did we do make dir? We did. Please tell me we did. Yes, we did. Okay. Whew. Day 12. Come on back. Come on back, day 12. All right. So what I'm looking for is how to change the shell. Now, I am so old that back in the time, we would just edit the file, which is super dangerous. If you make one wrong keystroke in that file, which I will do because we have containers, is it -s? Thank you, really? Um, if I do one wrong keystroke editing etsy password, you're like in big trouble. So don't do that. So user mod dash S. I was gonna guess dash S, but I didn't. And you can make all kinds of things your shell, by the way. So now when I do HTML, I become Doris. I'm gonna be Doris. Now I'm Doris. You can't tell I'm Doris, but I am. There I am. Yep, and I should be in the right place. I'm in home Doris because why? Because we did dash M and it made it for us. But we still have a problem, right? Because we're over in here. We have that. Where's my grep? So I have grep home. Let's look at all the users. We got all these great users. Robin McBobbo, another Doris, but another does not have. It says it here. It has a home directory, but when I try to go there, I get this error still, right? So another. Nope, nothing. It says warning. So we have to fix that. Well, the way to fix is pretty easy. We go into home and we're going to do a copy. Now, I think we covered copy. Please tell me we covered copy. Yes. But we didn't cover copy enough to know about how to copy more than one thing. So I'm going to teach it to you now. Copy -R, we can just do man CP and it'll tell you. So copy we have, and by the way, guys, I don't have any colors or anything because I'm not customized. We're going to get to that, right? So you can preserve all, there's all sorts of, I can never ever remember all the options. There's a couple of really important ones though. One of them is -R, -I if you're really scared, it'll interact with you. -R or -R. I always have to look at it because I was raised to use capital R and then I dash lowercase r is fine. Does anybody know if that one of them is POSIX and one of them isn't? I think one of them is POSIX and another one isn't. I don't remember which one. So just remember -R. So what are we doing? Why are we gonna do that? Copy -R Etsy skeleton to this directory and we're gonna call it another. Boom. But we're not quite done yet. And here's why. So if I do SU dash to another, now I'm the account and everything. I got my welcome and everything. But look at the permissions on the directory. Yeah. Watch what happens when I try to make something. Touch something. It's my home directory, for gosh sakes. But I don't have permissions to my own home directory. Oh no, whatever will I do? So there's one last thing we have to do here. And this is going to jump us down quite a bit into the these commands down here, which I wasn't going to do. I mean, we've been doing LSL all this time. So we're going to do this one right here. All right. We're going to do a shown. And what a shown does is it changes the ownership of the directory. But I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to tell you, you can do man shown or read all about it if you want. You're going to be doing a lot of reading. You just have to. RWX, read, research, and then practice on a container. So, and what's this? So I have a file in there already called welcome, right? So if I just do this, if I do shown, if I shown RWX Rob, I'm going to do it wrong. So, and then I do RWX Rob again. So I know it's a little weird because another. So the count name is another and the directory is also another. So that's why I have two. So now I do ls-ld on another and wow. Oh wait, what's wrong? Okay. So it didn't change the group. Why not? Now I could do this. I could do ch group, another. Okay. ls-ld, another. And we see, okay, now the group name and its, identifier are the same. Now, but here's the thing. You can actually do that faster, and this is standard everywhere, by putting a colon in shown and putting another there, and then it will do both. If you put the colon there, it will do both in one shot. So I could have done that. If I wanted to change it to somebody else's permissions, which is weird, I could give it, Doris. And then Doris, there's no reason they can't edit it if I do that, right? I just want to make the point just to show you. So now it's owned by Doris, and Doris is the group. It's a little confusing to beginners that the group name is the same as the username, but that has come about as a standard a long time ago. That way, if you want to give somebody access a multi-user system to your stuff, you just add them to your personal group, and they can do anything. So we're going to do another. It changes. So shown another is exactly the same as shown another, and then the group directory, and then chgrp group, change group, change group another directory, change group, change owner name directory. So it's the same as doing this. So that command I just did is exactly the same as this. And then chgrp another. Exactly the same. Those are 100% equivalent. But we do have a problem here still, and we don't have to go into the directory to see as the user. We could try another and see what happens here. All right, so let's see if we can touch a file now. Touch file. Yay! Okay, we can make a file. That's all well and good. But let's go edit this new file. Actually, I want to delete it. I appreciate the welcome, but now I want to remove it. WEL come. What? So I can't remove it. Why not? Because I just changed the directory permissions, not the permissions on everything inside. You can probably guess what's coming. So again, recursion for the win. So the way we get around this is we do the same exact command we just did, right? And I'm going to pause here for effect. Be extremely careful with this. Extremely careful with this. I have done this at SkillStack on my users, my students directories, and was in the wrong directory. This is another reason containers are so amazing. I was in the wrong directory and I changed ownerships for 30 people to the same thing. The thing to take away from this is not be afraid of the terminal, but to appreciate the power of it and be careful with the commands. I see little kids, young in particular, they come here and they just enter like random things and push enter. And I'm like, no, especially not as root. So this is why you should do very few things as root, by the way. You should use sudo instead. So you're like very precisely using commands that you know you need root access for. Otherwise, you might accidentally do something that affects the entire system. So let's actually, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to break my system on purpose so you can see why not to do this. This is a really great reason for having containers, because you can see, what's possible, right? In fact, I'll deliberately break it. So let's actually deliberately break it on purpose, shall we? No, let's do it the right way first so that sticks in your brain. So shown -capital R, I think you can do a lowercase r as well. I've always done capital R on this, so sue me if you can do lowercase r. What this says is exactly the same as the other command, except for now, let's go look at it. Shown. We'll search / for -r and see what we can read. Yep, there it is. So this is weird. So this is why I do -capital R. I do lowercase r on coffee and -capital R on shown for some reason. Man page for the win. So now when I go to the other account, you can see everything is now owned. And if I wanted to, I can remove, there's no file completion because I'm not bash yet. Am I not bash? Oh, we haven't fixed basher yet. Should we make it bash? Let's do that. That's why I don't have tab completion, because I'm not bash. I'm still POSIX shell. So let's actually fix that. You guys remember? User mod -s other, right? Oopsie. Need to give it something. Bin bash or user bin bash. What bash is there? That's user bin bash. Okay. I think there's two of them there, but user bin bash. All right. So now when I go to the other account, you'll see everything is good. And now I have shells, so I can rm tab, welcome tab, enter, and everything's fine. The other thing too that you didn't even see is that the login information was also not correct, because so that we needed to show. Now, before we leave this topic, let's actually really screw stuff up. So if you feel comfortable doing stuff in a container, and then you're welcome to try this, but just make sure you feel comfortable making sure you're in a container when you do this, because if you do this on a system, you can't come back from it without reinstalling the system. So let's say I accidentally did shown another, and I just did it like that. It's like, oh, don't know what to do. Let's say I accidentally put it on /home. I mean, you would never do that, but if you did, what's going to happen? Right? Well, now what? Now I try to become Doris, and what happens if Doris logs in? Doris is like, awesome. Thank you for the welcome message. Wait, how was she able to remove it? Did I not do it right? Oh, I didn't do -R. That's why. All right, so that didn't really hurt anything that badly. I just hurt the home directory, which didn't really affect as much. If you do the -R though, that's recursive, so that means everything underneath it too, right? And so then I go, now I should have a problem. So Doris, and let's see here, touch file. Oh, can't do it. Why not? Because I don't own the directory anymore. I'm like, wait a second, you ruined everything. So how would I fix this? And you might practice this, guys. You might practice breaking your system and fixing it. That's system administration. We had somebody join up today, follow, who said they specifically wanted to become a system administrator. This is a specific task the system administrator would be tested on. So let's try it. We're going to exit out of root. Let's fix this disastrously bad thing I've done. Well, it's actually not that hard to fix it, is it? In fact, you could even write a script for this. You wanted me to try? Be careful, your script could be really bad. But like if I do for I in ls-1 dot do echo-i. I'm just gonna show you later. So there's all the names, right? This just is a little loop, one-liner loop. We're gonna learn about all this shell scripting on Monday. And then what? This just echoes it. So note to self, whenever you're doing really dangerous things, always echo the command first to see what kind of command you're getting ready to do. And then when you're ready to pull the trigger, delete the echo. So we're going to do echo. What do we want to do? We want to do shown I, because it's going to match the same thing. Let's see what that would look like. Ooh, that looks pretty close to what we want, right? Let's do, what if we did a colon in there? Shown another. Okay, now one last thing. We need to add the -R in there, right? -R. And so now I'm shown -R. So let's make sure this is correct. So this says change recursively the permissions of other to of other. Okay, so that looks ready to fire off. So let's delete the echo, or you can even keep the echo. And this is kind of a thing, but you could actually, if you're not sure. If you want to keep the echo, you can say cmd equals, and then you can come over here and add another line and do echo command, and then that will. Oops. Wait, we gotta put all of this in double quotes, and this is the power of like little shells. Whoops. What did I do here? Echo. Do shown equals. Blah blah blah. I'll put some quotes around this one too. Oh, I got rid of a semicolon. Okay, there we go. So there we go. Now what you can do is you can echo it, and now you can execute it. Now to execute it, you're just going to add the command by itself. And I'm doing this sort of for a purpose, because I want you to see how dangerous variables are that do not have double quotes around them. Even in this case, it would still run, but it's going to actually run it. So when I hit enter, it's going to not only just print it, it's going to run it. Now it did that so quickly. See how quickly it did it? But let's actually see if it worked. So this time, let's actually keep our little list here, and let's change the guts of our little loop and say ls-l$i, and then oops, we need to put an ld, right? ld, and now we have our problem is fixed. With one line script with a for loop, we're all done. Now I could have obviously done those one at a time, but I kind of wanted to show you the power of the shell and being able to add things to it as you go. We are about out of time on this video, this 25-minute video, but let's go back and see what we've covered. Again, this is to just get you the ideas of the things you need to do. So I think we're going to go a little bit long on this video so I can cover everything that's here. And we're going to probably make this just a long video, just as a matter of course. Gives ownership of their home directories and everything to them. That little script that I did, yeah, yep. So, and although all I'm really doing is this command. So if I were to do it without a script, what would the script be? Shown -r another : another, right? And then I do another one for Doris. Remember VI mode? Set that show VI mode. Wait, I don't have my things on. I'm sorry, I don't have my keys on. Now they are. Watch this. Remember I told you why do you set that show VI? Watch this. CW. What? Group. No. We want it to be Doris. And I'm going to go over here. Now watch. I'm going to push a period, and it's going to replace the current word with Doris again. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to push period again, and it's going to replace it again. Do I need to make my case for set-OVI further? Everything I just did there is not possible without set-OVI. So I basically just used my command line was just basically a file I'm editing. Let's go back. I'm going back up in the history, and now let's actually change Doris to RWX Rob, and now I'm going to dot and then dot, and now I change those. Enter. So the script that I wrote, the one-liner to do that loop, it could have just done the same thing, but set-OVI makes the pain of changing each command line that much easier. It's very, people sometimes will tell you to do this, which just executes the last command again. That's all it does. One of the more popular things for people to tell you to do is something like this, which just does the last command is sudo or something. I can't even remember. I don't ever do it. It's stupid to me, but whatever. Someone who knows it tell us how to do it. I don't do it. But I just use VI mode, and I go back up, and I got all of my commands are here, including that big long fancy script. So the reason this is so nice is you can go back and tweak your command. You don't have to rewrite your command every time. You just go back up and rewrite it, and that's kind of a way to do that. All right, so let's go back to where we are kind of going over. I'm going to get myself another 25 minutes on this. It's going to be a long video. I'm sorry, but because we're going to cover this entire thing in probably one session because they're so intermixed. It doesn't really make sense to separate them. Delete user. Okay, so let's do that. Let's try to delete a user. So let's just delete del user. Another, and that's not gonna. Del user is the one I always use. It actually, because you put the verb first. You remember the verb first does what you want. The other one is left over from a long time ago, is more compatible. But that now what? Now you see it got rid of it. Whoa! It didn't get rid of the directory. Do we have a problem here, Houston? Or do we have a problem? You see, look, now it puts numbers here. You know why? Because there's no user anymore. So grab home from Etsy password. Watch. We only have 2 password entries. That means there's only 2. As far as the system's concerned, there's only 2 users. But it left around the home directory. All right. So in order to get rid of that, how do we do that? rm/home another. It's like, oh, can't do that. So you remember your command rmdir. Oh, can't do that either. The directory's not empty. Well, what's in it? Find home another. That'll show us everything in the directory. Okay. Find space home / home another. So that shows, man, there's lots of stuff in there. How did we get rid of that? Well, the infamous rm-rf / home. Be careful with this command. Home another. You're in a container, so you don't need to be too scared. So now what? Now I should not see anything in there, and it's all gone. It's all gone. So any vestiges of that user are now completely obliterated. Let's try it though using the other account. The other way. Let's do user del Doris. Let's see what happens. Wow, that didn't even ask us any questions. What did it do? Did it get rid of it? Home Doris. Oh, look at that. That got rid of the directory. That's odd. So that one, it's kind of backwards. So add user is a nice cozy one for adding, and apparently user del does what you want to delete it, including get rid of the home directory, when the other one does not. Very interesting. Did not know that. I've been using user del for most of the time. So actually, let's see if it got rid of the password. Well, it must have. I mean, there's no way. I can't imagine it not doing that. So yeah, so there we go. It's gone. Did it remove all its group permissions? Probably. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So that was pretty easy. User mod, you can modify any of those parameters using user mod. I don't want to go into that more. Add group and group add. So why on earth would you want to add a group? Okay, so probably the most important group to add, is there sudo over here? Nope, I have to have sudo. So if you don't have sudo, go ahead and add it. We're going to apt install sudo. Sudo is a safer way to give users access to these root commands without just becoming root, because you don't want them to become root. So, but let's say I want it, and this is a good thing to do. This is a good thing to do to yourself to protect you. So one of the things you could do is add yourself to the sudo group. So let's do that. So when we installed sudo, by the way, we also installed, so you can type groups. Let's do this. Let's say, let's do more. Remember more? Etsy group. Groups or group? Etsy group. So here's all the groups on the system. And you can see we got a group for us here. I didn't see a sudo one. Let's see if we can find a sudo one. Grub sudo. Yep, there it is. All right, so you're not supposed to do this, but you can actually just edit the file and put your name there. But if you get it wrong, your whole system is bork, so don't do that. You could just do this. You could say user mod. It's like everything in Unix is like editing your registry in Windows. Everything. So use the commands if you can. So user mod. No, we're going to do add group. We already have a group, so we don't need that. Let's add somebody to a group. So let's see, group mod. How's it going? Man, group mod. Let's figure out what's going on here. I don't know how to use group mod. I don't use that much. Oh, so this is if you wanted to change something about the group. New name for the group. No, we don't need that. Let's see here. A group password. I didn't know they had a group passwords. That's something interesting there. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to be sudo Etsy group. I don't know how to do this because I don't do it that much. So I have to look it up. Is it group mod? I know that part I know. We've been doing user mod. If you're just coming back, don't talk unless you catch up because we covered all that. So we're missing something, and I'm gonna go look it up. How to add a user to a group. We're gonna search the internet real fast, and we got our answer in how many seconds did that take? Did you guys count? Counting? Are you counting? There it is. It's user mod -a -g. Okay. To add a user, to agree to the sudo group, use that. Okay, well that wasn't fast. That took me like a minute or second to find. So user mod -a -g, capital G. Well, I want to read about it. I don't want to just do it. So let's do man user mod and see why that is. So search for -a. There it is. Add the user to the supplementary group. Use only with -g option. Oh, okay. Well, I trust you then, man page. That's what I'm gonna do. So let's do that. So user mod -a -g sudo group RWX Rob. All right. So now when I go to RWX Rob, nothing fancy here, but now I can do things that are fancy. So I can do sudo touch file. It's asking me for my password. And if you get your password wrong, it yells at you. Oh wait, that's a different file. I already had one. so there's actually an XKCD joke about this. I have to look it up. XKCD sudo. I mean, my son has a T-shirt for this, which was mine. I didn't fit in it. Sudo make me a sandwich. What? Make it yourself. Sudo make me a sandwich. Okay. Yeah. XKCD. If you don't know about it, you kind of have to be a geek. It's geek culture. So not too big a diversion there. So let's go ahead. Let's see what. So let's try to do things that we couldn't do as just plain old user. Like let's touch files in here. Touch a file in the root directory. Oh my gosh, that's like such a dangerous thing. No, can't do it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You think so, huh? You think so? Uh-huh. How about this, huh? What do you think of this? What you think of that now? What do you think of me now? I got me a file and I made it and it has nothing in it, but it's owned by a root and it's owned by you. You know what else I can do? I'm so powerful. I can make that file into a file that's owned by Doris. Yeah. Watch. Shown. I can do shown Doris file. Oh boy. Invalid user. Oh, did we delete Doris? Whoopsie. No, we haven't. Did we delete Doris? But we left her. We left her in Etsy password. I think we did, didn't we? We did. We did. So there's no user Doris. Rip Doris. We can add her back. Let's add her back. Add user. Ask user. No. Add user. That was a total accident. I swear to God. Only root may add him. Oh yeah. Well, sudo says I can add it. So there. All right. And no password for you. Okay. Easy password for you, I guess. Yes. I want to try again. All right. There you go. Lots easier to do that one. All right. So now Doris is back in the house. We added her back. She's got a different ID now, though. So, but we can see there she's still 101, right? But check it. So this is what's really weird. So if you do ls-l, like ls-ld home Doris, it's like, what? But we have a user for Doris, and what's going on? I have a user for Doris and I can't see it. I just made a user for Doris. Why isn't this stuff owned by Doris? Because their IDs don't match. And so I did this on purpose because I wanted you to see that the username is different than the ID. And it's probably worth adding this to the thing. So, okay. Use ID to get the information. Now, the user to get user and group information. Some people will tell you to do other things. ID is POSIX, and I forgot to add that there, so I'm going to add it. So let's do that. So ID, okay, there's my user information. Let's do this as Doris. Ooh, watch this. Sudo su ID. Let's see. Doris ID. Oh, cannot do it. Damn. Well, all right. Let's do this. Sudo su Doris. I'm gonna become Doris. Whoa! Now I'm Doris. Okay, so I can do ID over here. So I am Doris. Now you can see Doris has got ID 1 and 100 and 1 and 102 here. Now there's a number of things you can do here. You can actually change them. I want to do something that you should never ever do unless you want to. You should never ever do this unless you want. There's a problem here though. I'm going to break something on purpose, so I don't want you to do this. So Doris down here, I'm going to just change that to a 2. I'm going to change that to a 2, right? I'm going to give it up to you. There's still a problem here though, because guess what else has not changed yet? Doris over here is still 101. So I just want to tell you the moral of the story is if you were raised by people who told you to just go edit the files, tell them no, don't do that. It's particularly now there's another thing called secure SE Linux, and it even is in addition to all of that. So no, we're not going to do that. We're in the middle of a video, so don't talk about anything that we're not talking about, please, right now. We'll have time for that. So you got the ID to get the information up, and so here we go. Did that change anything? I don't know. Let's see. ls-ld/home Doris. Oh, we need the D in there. Otherwise, it just shows us the stuff in there. Now it says Doris because the IDs match. Right. So we've done pretty much everything here. There's one last file that we've been playing around with that you have not seen. Now, as a streamer, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way I would have taught you this without containers. So what I'm about to show you is something you should never, ever let public eyes see. So Etsy password, once upon a time, this X was plain text passwords, unencrypted, just a password there. And you can still make that work if you want to. It's really dangerous, but don't. And then they said, well, we should probably not do that. So they've said, okay, we'll put an X there. And then we'll say, if you have an entry in Etsy shadow. Permission denied. Oh yeah, watch this. Sudo vi Etsy shadow. Okay, now I can see it. Ooh, look at these passwords. Their password is an asterisk. That means there's no password. Let's see if there's a password. Wow, that's a long password, Rob. Do you actually type that in every time? My gosh, you got a good memory. No. So this is what's called a salted password, or a hashed password, or a hash map. There's a million ways of talking, not hash map. And the thing that's really cool about this is you cannot, know the password by looking at it like that. The only way it's mathematically impossible for you to pretty much to guess. I mean, not to guess, but to do something by looking at those letters and get the password. However, if you have that, not that I would know how to do this or anything, you don't do this, you get like Randall Schwartz, who made the Learning Pro book. You will get convicted and sent to community service for 2 years. Even if you're doing it for all the right reasons, you can take this string or this file and you can run it against brute force Jack the Ripper, or there's a million different things. And you can have put a guessing program. And if you really want a lot of horsepower, you can go rent a mega computer from Amazon for 10 minutes. And you can crack that password within seconds. And I'm not going to show you how to do it in this video because that would be out of scope, but it's not hard. I'll just put it that way. So if you actually manage to steal some system's Etsy password shadow file, you can take that file and crack that thing on your leisure on whatever computers you want. You can come back and go, oh, hey, look, I know what your password is. And you've elevated your permissions at that point. All right. So I think it's really important that you understand that. Let's go through, we got 10 more minutes in this video. Let's go through, we talked about Chmod. Okay, we're going to do permissions now. And then we're going to do, first of all, before we leave the users thing, so those are the main users files, by the way. Let's do how to see who's on the system. So right now, there's no one on the system. Well, that's interesting because technically I'm not logged in. That's interesting. Wait, should I log in? Yeah, let's do that. So as root, you can also do login. I forgot about that. We should probably put login in here. Use login to simulate a remote, to log in. Use su-user to simulate a login. All right, so we can do this. So now we can do this. We can do, we can say login as who do you want to log in as? Okay, I want to log in as Doris, but I don't think I gave her. Did I give her a password? I think I did. Yeah. I don't remember the password though. How about we do Rob instead? Login. Wait. RWX Rob. All right. Yay, I'm in. Okay, so if you want to actually see the exact thing, now when you do W, it shows that I've logged in. Apparently, it doesn't register a new logged in user when you use SU. I just realized that, which I'm going to put here. Does not whereas this one does. So if you're on a multi-user system and you want to see everybody who's on the system and their IP numbers, you go in. And by the way, if you want to get everybody's IP number, go to picoctf and do this command, and you'll see every single person's IP, because nobody does anything to obfuscate it, and you really probably don't need to these days. I mean, it's getting stronger. I've heard really high-end hackers to say that they're not afraid of that at all. But so here you go. You can do W. It shows you that. You can do who. You can do who am I. It shows you your exact user. Which actually, that command is more reliable than this. And by the way, or this dash UI is also more valuable. U, and it'll give you the name. If you just do ID dash U, it'll give you the number. Same thing with group, ID dash G. GN. It's hard to tell the difference, right? So that's POSIX, by the way. User is not. It's not always set on a login shell. So and one last one. Who am I? This one gives you the most stuff. This one tells you where you're logged in and everything. It doesn't show the IPs because we didn't connect remotely. Had we done that, it would show you what you were doing and what you're running. The other one called Last. Last will show you who was the last person who logged into your system. People say that and go, "Ooh, I'm going to catch the hackers who logged into my system." Any decent hacker will have removed the last login logs immediately. If for some reason there's a big gap in your login logs, then you might. That's one way to identify that you've been hacked. If they've used that method. Most of the time when people come in, they don't use any of the methods that would register a login at all. It's more like the sudo su thing that we did. So that's a way to do that. We talked about su, ID, had all that to look at. Okay, so let's shift gears to permissions. But we are going to take a break, and I'm going to do the video just on permissions next. All right, so guys have any questions or anything? I'm gonna go stand up, maybe get a snack. I don't know. We're gonna do one more video and that will cover permissions. We'll be done. But I'm running out of horsepower here, speech wise. So yeah, that'll be the next one we do right there. Right there. The snack is a good idea. All right, go get a snack. I'll be right back. Okay. Snack time. Juice box. I love your juice box. That's awesome. That reminds me of when I was a young dad. Yeah, all the juice boxes and stuff, and soccer games and stuff. No, I miss those days. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do permissions. Permissions is probably not going to take us a full 20 minutes, but we'll go ahead and do them. We did sudo already, right? Wait, did I do sudo up here already? Sudo. We're talking about root access, right? Root access means you can do all the things. But this here, how does that look? That look good? Yeah. Okay, so actually, I forgot to tell you one thing. Magic permission number, yes. Sudo su dash. So that's a really common command. Sudo su dash is a really common command. So let's do this. Let's do ownership and permissions. And how many of these windows do we have open? We have more than one open. All right. T and paste. All right, so let's another video here. Let's do this. If you want, if you're using sudo, I don't. I use sudo space doas -s. If you use doas, you can do doas as well. Yeah. So they're just wrapping up a conversation about sudo and all the different ways to use it. For the longest time, I've been using sudo space. You can doas will just do like one command, as root and stuff like that. Those so many commands there. I'm glad you mentioned it though, because we could probably put doas. Let's put doas in here. I know you're here for another video, but so use doas -s to do something as root. You can also do su with the -c option. There's just lots of options there. So again, the purpose of Boost is to tell you what to look and learn, what to look for and learn about, not necessarily to go into everything in depth. So that's another one of those things I need you to go look at, on your own. So in order, especially if we're going to cover Unix file permissions, Unix, I love the X, it looks kind of like a swastika. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to. And directory ownership. So what does that mean? What is directory ownership, Unix file permissions? Well, and you're going to notice right away something similar to my name. My name is actually play on Unix permissions. So when you do ls-l on a thing, you can see the things that it's there, ls-l. So here you see we have a file. It's got 0 in it. We talked about files another day, but we're going to focus on this field mostly today, right here. And so this is a file so this first three groups of permissions is this over here is generally what kind of thing it is. So if I make a directory, sumdir, and then I do ls-l, you'll see this directory has a different color usually. And so it tells us directory. If it were, there's lots of different file types, and we're not going to go into that. Just know that they are there. We covered them on a different day. The main directory, the main file types that you need to understand are a file, a directory, and probably a link. That's pretty common. So we'll link to a file. We'll make another one, and then ls-l, and now you'll see those clear ls-l. You'll see all of these. So this is a link, which is pretty obvious over here. And this is a directory, and this is a regular file. And then there's one other kind, and let's make one really quick. I'm gonna go over all this again later, so don't you worry. BNSH echo hello. I'm gonna go over all of it again. I don't want you to panic. So hello. I just want to be able to show you all of them together. And then we'll do ls-l. So we're still in our container. We have a lot of pretty colors. So these are generally the three colors that you'll see. Sometimes you'll see other colors in there. that represented the things. But when you want to see what kind of file it is, that's what that first thing is. And so, I mean, these are the most common types of files you're going to see. There's lots of other kind of files, but those are the most common. And let's get to the next field. What is this about? So the first three, it's set of three. The first three are for the user, and that's this over here. That's the user. And then we talked about users and groups in the other video, and then the second three are for the group. So anyone who's a member of the group gets that permission set. And the last one is for world or other, and that's everybody else. Okay, and you can do some weird combinations with that. You can actually make it so that you can't even edit your file and only anybody else in the world can edit it as long as they're not you. You can do some really weird things with the combinations of the permissions here. But most commonly, you're going to be setting things up for read and write and execute. And this is where RWX comes from. Read, write, execute. It's a mantra for life as well as everything else. Research, write, and explore and experiment, right? RWX. I have written a lot about RWX being sort of a way to go about being an autodidactic learner, and that's where that comes from. So RWX Rob happens to fit into the name, so it would be these kind of permissions right here. Anyway, so how do you change the permissions? And it's actually not that hard. By default, the permissions are set. Just for beginners, we're not going to talk about anything more than that. It's actually, I think, something called a UMask. So if you want to look into something called a UMask, U-M-A-S-K, and that will tell you, if you do a man about that, you can learn all about what UMask is. Oh, there's no man entry for UMask. Is there any help for UMask? Probably not. Oh, there is. That's interesting. All right. Well, that just convinced me to change something else. I got to change something really quick before I forget. Man command to get help. Use man and help and info. I don't normally use those commands because I honestly don't use them, but I just saw that's actually the first case I've seen where something's covered in help that's not covered in man. So pardon my adjustment, but I can change things pretty quickly while we're doing it here. So where are we? Right here. All right. So back. So apparently help, we got some help on this. So this displays, it went off the screen though. So let's do more. Pipe it to more and we can see about it. So display or set file mode mask. Oh, it must be in bash. And bash it is. UMask. Ooh, I did not know that. Guess not. Okay, well, now you know what it is. It's the file mode mask. And what it means is that when we get in, we're going to do octal and binary and all that. And we're going to come back to this. We're not going to talk about it right now, though. Just if you want to understand it, just know that there is a binary bit field of ones and zeros that represent the permissions, and that the numbers that are there are in octal. Octal is base 8. Is it base 8 or base 3? It's not base 2. Base. I can't remember. I have to go look at it. I don't want to get into bases right now. We'll do that. I have a thing called all your bases belong to us, and we'll get to that. And we'll do binary, which is base 2, and we'll go all the way up to base 16 and base 64. It's base 8, right? Octal meaning base 8. Yeah. So that means you have 8 digits, 0 through 8 to represent everything. And you get to 8, you got to flip it over. That's what a base is, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there. The UMask says, what am I adding these things to? If you're going to get into the low level of technical computing, and you're going to be doing, things with network protocols or permissions or anything binary, you're going to need to learn bases eventually. So now right now, and the purpose of the boost is to know what you don't know, so you can go learn about it. But I am going to cover bases, just not right now. We're going to make a shell script that counts in multiple bases. All right, so we're going to come back to that because when it comes to setting permissions, we're going to be using octal numbers, but the commands to change permissions that most beginners should learn are not octal. And there's a huge debate about this. I don't know how many people love to have opinions about this, but everyone says that if you want to make a file executable, obviously you should do 755 on hello and change it in the octal. And they'll make all kinds of arguments about why that's the best way to do it. You can make arguments against that based on what the UMask is and stuff like that. Just know that people argue about that. But if you're a beginner, the most reliable way is the non-octal way to do it. And no. Mm-mm. Now that's base 32 actually. It's a on-site int32 for Unicode. And UTF-8 is a part of the Unicode. Anyway, we'll get into that. We're definitely going to get into that as well. So when we get into that's a coding thing that we're going to get into. So let's get back to permissions. So actually, I typed this so much when hello, plus, it doesn't do anything when you do it that way. Wait, what's going on? I lost my, all right, here we go. Set chmod plus x hello, ls-l hello. So that says, because I didn't put anything in front of it, it added x to everything. If I want to take x away from everything, I can just put minus x, and that takes it away from everything. ls-l hello. Now, why is this important? Because these permissions that we're adding have different meaning on a directory than on a file. And that's super important. It gets often overlooked in the conversation about how to change permissions. Because if you think that you're just going to do 755 on everything recursively, you're going to end up doing something completely different to a directory from what you expected than what it would do to the files. And so I'm going to make the case that you should use the non-octal format, the readable format for this. You can read all about it in man chmod. It'll tell you all about all of this, and suggest that's a read. It's just more reading. I know it's reading, but it'll give you a breakdown of the fields and everything. And so let's say I don't want my stuff to be readable by anyone. All right, anything. I don't want anything in here to be readable by anyone. I could do chmod. I want to read it though. So in that case, what? Well, now I need to take away the other permission 0. That's and then we do minus. Let's say minus read, write, and execute on what? File and hello. ls-l, and now what? Now we took away all the permissions for other, for other on that. If I wanted to take it away from everybody in this directory, I can put star, and that's kind of dangerous, but that'll change everything. I don't think it affects the current directory. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. So now I do ls-l, and you see it took the permissions away from everything except for the link. And it's important you understand this. We talked about hard links and links. Symbolic links by their nature are always full permissions. They have to be, because they point to another thing. It doesn't give full permissions to the file, and I can prove that, right? So if I go su-doris, and yeah, if I know Doris's name, I can type I don't know. So sudo su-doris, how about that? Oh well, okay, there we go. So now I'm Doris. So if I'm Doris and I want to come sneak into my directory and look in there, I do ls-l, and I can see all the stuff, right? So, oh wow, I can see he's hidden his file for me, so I can't see it. But an other is visible, so I'm gonna go look for other, more other, another, and it's like I can't. Now, why is that? Because the symbolic link perpetuates the permissions to the other, to file, and file I can't open, so you get the same error trying to open a file as you would have got there. Whoops, file. So then it's the same error, right? Now, if I want to give Doris permission, I can do that. I can add Doris to the group and be able to see it. There's lots of things, but most importantly, it's just break it down like that. Now, I do want to point out something, that on most systems, the default permissions are too permissive in a true multi-user environment. One of the first things a system administrator does on a multi-user system is lock down the ability from them to see each other's home directories. There's lots of, multi-user systems are becoming really, really rare right now, because there's just so many ways to hack across user accounts into other people's directories. There's just no containerization really of the thing. And so it's more common these days for an organization to give you a container that you have full access to and do whatever you want, for all the reasons that we've talked about in the boost. because it also completely separates you from everybody else, 100%. There's just nothing they can do to mess with you. In the old days, though, you would have thousands of people, and there's still a bunch of institutions that use this model, including Carnegie Mellon, who does Pico CTF, where there's 32,000 people sharing the same machine, and their home directories are not visible to one another. You can bypass that if you want to, but not necessarily every time. So as you can see, we're back here. We've done the thing. So I'll let you read more about it. I've given you enough to do here. If I only wanted to make, let's say this, let's say I have hello. I want to be able to have Doris read hello, but I don't want her to be able to run it. Okay. So then I can do this. I can do chmod plus X, or actually let's do a more precise thing. Okay. So let's say I want to, and let's do equals. Okay. Now, equals is different. So plus and minus are the way to go. Equals is really dangerous because it'll set it exactly to those settings. So, but if you want to do that, so I would say I want other to have exactly read-only access, right, for hello. All right. And I don't use equals very much because I've burned myself too many times using it. Because sometimes it throws out another permission that I wanted there, including like, I don't know, set UID or something. We haven't talked about that yet, but so now, but I still want hello to be runnable by me. So I'm going to say, plus X, actually, I'm going to say user and group plus X on hello. And now, the permissions on hello are, I can run it. But if I become Doris, I won't be able to run it. REX Rob, I /hello. I'm gonna try to run it. I can't do it, but I can read it. So I can read it. I can see what the shell script is about and everything. Keep that in mind too, because some people, and by the way, you should never put passwords in the script. That's just stupid. Don't do that. People do it all the time. But if you did, that would be a way that you could figure it out. So keep that in mind when it comes time to hack. So a lot of this stuff is actually really good at base hacking skills. So, here's another, there's a bunch of hidden files in here that we looked at, but I think we've covered most of our bases here on permissions. So we've been using ls-ldc permissions. It's probably worth mentioning the stat command. Stat gives you crazy gobs of information about files that are way more than just, as point to a password file under GPG encryption, exactly. Or there's the new pass. That's what Docker uses. There's a new program called Pass that's all over the place that just one-way encrypts it. So there's just so many reasons not to put anything secure in a file ever. It should always be perturbed in some way. Do you use Pass? Yeah. And just the moral of the story on security here is, never put a password or a token in a flat file unless you're absolutely sure, and you really need to be sure, that you are the only person who has access to that system ever. And even then, it's still dangerous. It's better to, encrypt it in some way. Yeah, it is. It is really, it's pretty good that way. Yeah. So Pass is we're not going to get into Pass. Pass is more of a medium to upper level coding technique to do this very thing and put passwords that you have in storage, but it's more of a coding technique, and maybe we'll do that during our shell scripting time. All right, so we're down to 7 minutes on this last video. What are we doing? Stat. So stat gives you this information stat. It tells you when it was married, born, when it had children. It's the full life story of the file. How big it is, what a block is, what's its inode number. We talked about inodes briefly, what its UIDs are. Here's its access control systems. I mean, come on, this is like really amazing. If you don't want all of that stuff, by the way, you can just get like one piece of it. If you want, what is it? I'm looking for, oh gosh, what is it called? Is it UID? I can't, man, stat. I don't use stat very much, but it is, oh wait, it's printf. No, wait. Yeah, it's C. It's C. Yeah. C-C, and then you have to do some fancy schmancy thing like %u or something. Hello. Yeah, there you go. So you can like make, all kinds it's just super cool. It's also POSIX. So I'm pretty sure stats POSIX is stat POSIX. Stat system call. Library stat header, that's a different thing. Stat2 stat file status. LStat is a symbolic link. Nope. Stat. Shell POSIX analog core utils stat command. Detect the stat version and switch parameters. GNU stat -c, BSD stat has -f. Well, what does this one have? It says core utils stat have format switch. Are there any stat utility in POSIX? What is the answer? 2 answers. Short answer is no. Oh, interesting. So it's an LS thing. POSIX does not provide a simple way to get the same output as stat. However, you can usually get relevant bits using ls-ld. Pipe it to awk. Oh my god. Good to know. I thought it was POSIX. I learned it wasn't. It didn't take. How long did it take me? Like 2 seconds, 3 seconds to look it up. Learn the R, research. Learn to be able to read things and look things up really fast. So that's the most important skill. It's way more important to know that than to know how to even code, because you can get answers immediately. Okay, so that is all. We did the executable permissions on directories. Okay, so it's worth mentioning that the permissions on a directory, the executable permission on a directory means, I believe, that you can read in it. I don't even know. So we're going to go look. Man schmod directory already executes directory. That's kind of messed up. What's going on? Why is my screen all messed up? Oh, I know why. Because it doesn't understand my terminal. That's why. Yep. I don't know why, but it's got a problem. I don't know. I'll go figure it out. So the 7, I have to look them up every time. Just know they're different. And I'm pretty sure 7 is that you can browse the stuff within the directory. You can actually have a directory that no one can list. They can't list the stuff in it. And people used to use this for anonymous FTP transfers. You could have a directory that is completely blind. No one can see anything in it, but they can access stuff in it. So you would make this really crazy, weird long name and then do that. But don't ever do that. Brute forcers will eat you for lunch if you do that, because they will guess every possible thing. Do not, it's called security by obscurity, and never ever depend on it. People do this all the time with their websites, by the way. They'll make an unlinked thing on their web page with some really weird name, and they'll get brute forced, and pen testers and bug bounty people, they'll find you in a heartbeat. Because they have brute forcers that'll just look at that URL and guess every possible thing, and they'll uncover it instantly. So don't ever do that. But that's one of the things that you might just understand. There's a difference in directory permissions from file permissions. We're going to be talking about the X permission to make a text file into a script later, so that it can be run when we talk about scripting on Monday, which is in 2 days. Actually, tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about that. And that's why it kind of naturally leads into tomorrow's time. There are, just to cap off the rest of this, I just want to make you aware, again, the purpose is awareness, not, thoroughness here. You really, if you want to play around with SetUID, do Over the Wire. Over the Wire Bandit has some really fun activities with SetUID. So does TryHackMe, actually. TryHackMe's free level for Linux has a SetUID level that's pretty fun, and it will teach you about SetUID. So this is the thing you need to know about SetUID. Run screaming from it. Don't use it. So SetUID, I don't even think I can do it. Yeah, because it's a script. Oh my gosh. Please tell me it didn't let me do that. It did. All right, so what SetUID does, oh my gosh, you're not supposed to allow that. Yeah, oh my gosh. I might be able to demonstrate this to you really quick. So echo hello. So echo. So check it. We're gonna do ID. Yeah, let's try this. And then schmod. Wait. sudo. Okay, so what setuid does, setuid or setgid, and there's many flavors. What they do is they cause the program that's running, that you're about to run, when it's running, when the process is running, it runs with the permissions of the owner, as if the owner had run it and not the person who's currently running it. So, and that's, let me show you. So if I'm going to try to shown this thing, shown root hello, and ls-l hello, and you'll see it's now owned by root. So, but it got rid of the permissions. Did you see that? Because I think there's safety guards to prevent from this these days. At least I remember them being there. So if I go back in here and I'm going to do setuid again, and it's going to say, no, you can't do it. You know why? You know why it says you can't do it? Because it's a script, and people used to get owned all the time back in the 90s from this. So for you to do that these days, it actually has to be a program, an executable program, and that means it has to be compiled C code or compiled Go code. It's another reason that Go and Rust and C and those flavors of languages are really essential, and that's why we'll probably learn C first. But in that case, you can write a setuid program, and when it runs, it's as if root were logged in and running it. And that level of access is crazy. It's really, really crazy, because that means they can do, whatever they want to as you. If you do a setuid like Rob like that, it didn't block it, which is still dangerous, but that means that Doris could run that program and it would run as me. So, but setuid root is even even more dangerous than that. Not letting you, because you no longer own it. Oh, maybe. Yeah, but it's setuid, so it's supposed to run. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Let's try. Yeah, you got it. You got it, New Moon. You got me on that one. Let's do that. You're right. Let's do this. Let's open up the permissions in addition. So let's say plus X S on hello. Yeah, it's not gonna do it. I don't even think it'll do X on hello. Yeah, it's like, sorry, not doing it, because it's just too risky. It's just too risky. So I remember I got put into this. I don't remember when that was. It was probably 2000 or something. They blocked the use of scripts, setuid scripts. But there are ways around it. But ultimately, you have to have a compiled program that's the kernel doesn't allow you to do setuid on anything except for a compiled ELF binary program, as the scripting can't do it. All right, so just know about those, though they exist. Sudo won't do it. No. I don't think so. If this works, I'm going to be terrified. Oh my gosh. Please tell me they kept this blocked. If they're allowing this now, we are all dead. So I'm not doing this as sudo. Okay, I'm doing it me now. Thanks for the catch. So if I do it like this, all right, it's still me. Oh wow, see over there it says that's it. No, it's still running it as me. It's not running it as root, because it's not setuid anymore. Yeah, but that's so weird. Is it capital S? I think it might be. I don't know. I almost don't want to know. Because it's so dangerous. Yeah, here we go. So this is setuid root, but now it's not. Maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't blocked. It wouldn't run it. See, that's running, but it's running as my user ID. It's not doing the effective user ID though. But we also didn't change the effective user ID. Ooh, I think that's it. I think it's it. I do. All right, let's try this. This is fun. I mean, I know we're off the rails here, but so let's actually change it. So echo, what is it? What is UID? It's EUID. EU. I mean, we're going above and beyond. We don't need to use this. I think you can actually change the UID. I don't know. Let's UID to 0. It's been a long time. Just end the video now if you don't care. There's effective UID, and then there's a real user ID, and then there's this plain old ID. It'll drop all the permissions if I save it. Oh my gosh. Hello. Oh, all right. So hello. Still didn't do it. So what you have to do is you actually have to have the program change the permissions. I don't remember how to do it. So you can't just change the effective user ID on this one. This is data thing only through a compiled binary isn't much. Oh, I know. It isn't. It isn't much protection, but it at least stops you from doing it. Scripts were giving up. People were hijacking scripts, and that's why they had to make it compiled. They were hijacking scripts in the day. Yeah. But the problem was that people were using setUID scripts to do things that they were not supposed to do. And at least the compiled code, if someone got control of it, it couldn't do anything other than what it was supposed to do, what it was coding to do. Scripts were, when people got scripts setUID access, they could cause the scripts to do something else and they could therefore gain a root shell, totally do whatever they wanted. And that was the problem. And that was a long time ago. I still don't remember all the details on that. I'd be really interested if somebody out there wants to have a lot of fun with this, and try to see if you can get shell to do what a compiled program would do for setUID. And it's sort of a hackery thing to get into. And of course you're not going to hurt anything. You're just using it in a container. Once again, containers for the win. Set yourself up with an Arch Linux container and go in there and play with it and, feel all hackery. Or more importantly, where's our Kali container? Here it is, Kali for the container. So do your setUID coding and practice in a Kali Linux container. There you go. That's all you have to type. If you have Docker on your system, boom, that's how you get Kali, just like that. Not even hard. The challenge for the record, the challenge is to get a setUID script to do something as root when it's only run by somebody who doesn't have root, nor do they have sudo access. So in my case, Doors, if Doors were able to run hello and have it add a new user to the system, for example, that would be a success. That would be a successful challenge. I'm pretty sure you can't do it. I don't think you've been able to do it for over 20 years, but I'm really curious to see if something along the way has changed. I know you can do it by design with, by writing by the way, you're not taking anybody's permissions or you're not hacking here. You're actually trying to, willfully cause a script to do the wrong thing, which sometimes is the right thing, by the way. So before we leave the setUID thing, there's a lot of real reasons for this. So for example, the systemd, right? Let's see, PS one dash, let's see, PS dash A. No, PS, there's no PS command on the system. You gotta be, Kali has nothing. I swear, Kali is bad. It's so bad. PS-UX or, all right, so this here, look. So the root process of the system, in this case it's been bash, but sometimes it's like, sometimes it might be systemd or something like that. It has to run as root because it has to be able to start up as root and then change over its ownership. I mean, it's, its effective user ID and then run as a new person, right? But, and if you're going to get into hacking with all of this stuff, the term for this, for starting out with just RWX rob and then getting root access, is called elevating permissions. And it's like, I think the third stage in the hacking process. They have, discovery, find stuff that's, you can hack. Then you have get access, penetration, which you got to get in there. And then you have privilege escalation, permissions escalation. And that's where you broke into it as, we're using Ubuntu for the boost. Yeah. For my machine, I have Pop! OS. I don't care. So, because I have containers, I can run anything I want. And then after that, you can escalate permissions and start doing things as root and then start up your backdoor and everything. And that stuff is really fun. Doing that as a career is less fun because half the time you're writing reports. But it's really fun if you're doing it for fun and profit on the side for pen testing and stuff. So all of these things that we're learning here are directly relevant to security and the pen testing, hacking, whatever you want to call it. Particularly ownerships and permissions and ownerships and all that stuff. So we're going to wrap today up right now, but I'm going to just end on that note. If you are interested in InfoSec at all or SecOps, definitely you want to really, really master every single thing I just talked about: ownership, groups, permissions, set UID, all of those commands that are used to do that. I mean, how to use those commands to see if you've been hacked, and also how to use them to, avoid detection if you're in a hacker competition or something. So those are all very, very, very important to you if you want to go down that path. All right, I'm gonna put a stream marker in and call it a night. So you can use whatever you want. Yeah. These days you can learn it any distro. Codex, if you watch, which day is it, guys? We're going to throw away my repo. My beautiful container is now gone. So I think containers is like day 5. So go watch the video on day 5, Code Codex. It goes all through containers. I think you're going to really love it. And and then day 6, day 5 and 6. Day 6, we looked at all the different containers. All right. So yeah, if you do them in order, it might work out better for you, but however it works out. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream temporarily here. So so I can do this. Just one last plug for RWX Rob, github.com/RWXRob/boost. Make sure you go like that. Give me a star over there if you want, a follow if you want. I mean, if I'll just mention sponsorship. If you want to do $2 a month sponsorship, you can do that on GitHub. GitHub has the Patreon takes a lot more money out. There's no perks for subs here, but I always appreciate a sub, and everything will be on YouTube tomorrow. I'll be posting today's YouTube video. Yesterday's YouTube video right now, but if you want to watch it right away, there's always the VOD, and you can go, and I'll be putting those in Twitch and Twitter, so you can do that. Is Zetacasting Codex? Yes. And so thanks a lot. I am actually going to GitHub support. From what I understand, I've heard from 2 people that GitHub support takes less percentage than Patreon. So I think GitHub is better for both of us. Here's why. I'll make a video about this. When you support someone and you choose to make it public, that makes you look better to people potentially wanting to hire you for open source positions. It shows that you are dedicated to supporting GitHub and open source projects, and it gives you a nice happy icon. It says, here's all the projects this person supports. I just think it has a higher visibility for you as a sponsor, as well as for the person who's being sponsored. So the person who's being sponsored, unlike Patreon, if it's a GitHub project, and most all of the stuff I do is GitHub, it's better than stars, right? Because and all of that stuff pushes your content. I actually have found out, someone was telling me about there's a GitHub stars thing or something like that. Not a starry thing. It's like a different thing for people who are doing open source contribution stuff. So I just feel like it's a more appropriate place. Patreon might be really good for people who don't have anything to do with GitHub, like regular YouTubers and stuff. I'm gonna maintain my Patreon account, but I'm gonna be actually sending an email out asking the Patreon people to move to GitHub. That's another thing that I actually, somebody just showed me that today. I had never seen that before. That would be nice, as long as the mission of RWX Rob was it you? The mission of RWX Rob really is to get education into the hands of people and get them the courage to do it and to start. It's not just my mission. A lot of other people here agree. A lot of other streamers agree. Mastermind, Strager, Premium, all of them, they're all promoting independent learning and progress in their own way, and that's fine. I want to see a world where that's promoted more than more of the traditional mechanisms. Yeah, and if you wanted to help with the videos later, we can definitely look at that. I'll be doing, after the boosts are done, I'm going to be revisiting the videos and doing all the highlights and stuff in there. So yeah, my goal will be to make something that's available for free or sponsorship that's better than anything on Udemy or any university course, frankly. And if I can pull that off, so be it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream now. And the problem with this is that I'm going to be getting right back on, and I'll have music and stuff, and I'll be just here coding away. I'm not going to bother rating anybody right now. It just takes too long. Honestly, that's the only reason. And I'll talk to you soon.